Today's episode of the More You Know podcast features Akshay Nanavati, who's a U.S. Marine veteran, speaker, ultra runner, entrepreneur, and author of Fearvana, a book endorsed by the Dalai Lama and Jack Canfield, and also Brandon Steiner, who's a legendary sports marketer and entrepreneur, who founded Steiner Sports, working with incredible athletes like Derek Jeter and Mariano Rivera, as well as an author, speaker, and host of The Hookup. I asked each of them how they handle fear and self-doubt. Enjoy the episode.
I'm just trying to make it all make sense.
The
More
You
Know
Podcast.
I handle fear and self-doubt by developing a positive relationship to those experiences and to those emotions. At this point in my life, I'm very comfortable with the experience of fear. I've engaged my fear in some of the most intense experiences on the planet, from being in war, to climbing mountains, to climbing rocks, to cave diving, to skydiving, you name it, to spending 7 days in pitch darkness, silence, and isolation because I had a fear of stillness. And so anytime a fear shows up, I'm really good at confronting it. Same thing with self-doubt. I constantly have self-doubt. As a concrete example, when I reached out to the Dalai Lama to write a foreword for my book, the whole time, it took me 5 months to get that endorsement from him. And throughout that time, I had constant self-doubt that they don't like my book, they hate me, they hate something or the other, and that's why they're not responding. So what I've learned is to become okay with the experience of that emotion, but not let that emotion define me. Because the key thing here, the key ingredient here in navigating these emotions is to recognize that we are not our thoughts, our feelings, or our experiences. We are the thinker of our thoughts, the feeler of our feelings, and the experiencer of our experiences. So there's a distinction between the emotion and us as the feeler of that emotion. And so fundamentally recognizing that fear and self-doubt are not the enemy. Often they're perceived to be the enemy. People say fear is negative, self-doubt is negative. There's all kinds of nonsense out there from quote-unquote experts telling you how to eliminate fear, be fearless, conquer your fears, eliminate self-doubt. All that stuff is garbage. We're going to feel fear. We're going to feel self-doubt. It's part of the human experience. The problem is not fear and self-doubt. It's the relationship to fear and self-doubt. So whenever it shows up, be with it, but don't let it define your actions. So a great technique to make it actionable is just to notice, okay, what am I afraid of? Why am I scared? What's the fear? How can I prepare for the worst case scenario? So as another example, when I was writing my book, Fearvana, I was terrified of writing a bad book. Because I was terrified of that potential 1-star review on Amazon. I was terrified that people would judge me and they would hate it and wouldn't help people. So as a result of my fear, I studied how to write a good book. I must have trashed 100,000 words worth of work. I studied from authors like Jack Canfield, Tim Ferriss. But because I was afraid of writing a bad book, I wrote a good book. So fear actually helped me write a better book. So fear is not the enemy, neither is self-doubt. It's our relationship to it that matters. So fundamentally, to summarize, acknowledge that they're not with the enemy. Don't try to eliminate them, because you won't. And by trying to, you're actually sending yourself deeper into a spiral that's not going to get you anywhere. So it can accept the emotion. Choose what you want to do outside of it with clarity of purpose, clarity of mission, clarity of intention, and realizing that you are not those emotions. That's how I handle fear and self-doubt. And fundamentally also just developing a positive relationship to it by engaging it, putting yourself in situations that scare you. In fact, almost weekly, you should be in a scenario where one part of you wants to fight and the other wants to quit. The more you put yourself in scenarios of fear, of self-doubt, of anxiety, the better you will be at handling it the next time, which is why I'm very comfortable handling fear now, no matter how it shows up. So that's how I handle fear and self-doubt.
First of all, don't believe everything you hear, and don't believe all the people that are in your ear. Just believe the ones that you trust and that you actually love and that love you. It's okay to listen to some of the people. You just have to listen to all the people. And a lot of times they'll be the ones that will give you that doubt. But there really is no reason to have any doubt if you have a strategy and your confidence in your ability. So I think it's really important to be confident in what you're doing. And you have a strategy to what you're doing, and then you won't have self-doubt. And breathe. Sometimes things do take a while. Rome wasn't built in a day, but they're working on it every day. So as long as you're moving towards getting things better and improving, you are successful. Just beat yesterday. Just try to do a little bit better today than you were yesterday, and you are successful, and you are on the right track. And expect that sometimes you'll be on the wrong track, and that's okay. It's not the opposite of being on the right track. A lot of times being on the wrong track will lead you to even being on the right track even further. So take those losses in stride, and a lot of times they'll end up being a big benefit for you.
trying to make it all make sense.
The
More.
You
No.
Podcast.